Well, hey y'all, welcome to Monks Alive. I know that there's several of you that didn't think, thought you was too late, but no, Kevin, you are right on time. I just sort of throw it up there, let all the stuff synchronize together. I use this thing called Nightbot, which it, if you say hi or hey or hello, it's going to answer you for me because I'm trying to figure out how to type all of this stuff. And it's a one-man show, so I use whatever I can. And then I'm also looking forward to tonight. There's several things that I want to share, and then I am going to try an open mic again. Last time there was a troll that jumped on. I've got that fixed, I believe. I've got it now set up so if some troll jumps on, I believe it will go back through and blow up their computer. No, not really, but I do have it fixed where I think I can prevent that from happening. Um, Hey, Jason, good to see you. And good. I'm going to try to do a Q&A with you guys. There's been a lot of interest over this Cherokee Trail hike that I'm setting up. It's been quite an adventure trying to put this thing together. This is different than anything I've ever done before. When I was in Wyoming and did the Wind River Range with my brother, there was a lot of places that we didn't see a trail, but as you got up to it, the trail would sort of kind of put up. And hey, Dale, good to have you here, man. Uh, the trail would just sort of open up before you out there in those mountains. I think if Max was online, he would be able to attest to that, of how it just sort of opens up. But there isn't. I mean, this trail hasn't been hiked or used. It was used as a wagon train trail that went northwest across Kansas to the Santa Fe line, and then it took the Santa Fe Trail out through Colorado, Wyoming, and then to California. So it's a different kind of trail. It's not marked really. So I've had to find a way of marking it, if you will. Now we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. But as you're interested, I'll try to get some things going on. Yep, so I got those lightsabers in the back. They can change colors. They can do all kinds of stuff. Kevin, yeah, it's just for you, so that I can give you a show and keep you focused here. If you type monk, I see a lot of folks are doing it. Nightbot will pick that up, and it will then it should put your channel up if you have a YouTube channel. I don't know how it does that stuff, but I see that Tony with Stone Wolf's Outdoors, he just did it and it just popped up. So if you type monk, give it a little bit of time and Nightbot will come back with your channel. So feel free to do that. This is a great place for us to share one another's channels and things. I want to do a few shout outs. Jason's on here in the basement. I'm going to keep him there for a little bit, but I'm going to do some shout outs here and then show a little clip of next Saturday's video. I'm also going to show a clip of another video that I've got for the future that'll talk about how I did this, how I plotted out this trail. So let me see if I can figure this all out and bring up some channels. Too Tall Hikes. Go check his channel out. He's getting started on this YouTube journey and has a lot of fun. He and Becca, I think Becca's his mom, they hike together, and she has her channel. I highlighted that last week. Too Tall actually has two channels. He has this one, and he has James Hall Fishing. And he does it's a lot of fun. North Carolina boy that just has a lot of fun on his channel. So go check him out. Check out both Too Tall Hikes and James Hall Fishing. And then there's another one here, and Yasmin, I just watched a video just a few minutes ago of hers. It was the best videography I have seen. I mean, she just has done an amazing job. She's also getting started on this journey like a lot of us. And so go check her channel out. Yasmin's Hiking Mission. Okay. Now, last week I had the contest of naming my hat. Um, as I told you, this is my old hiking hat. I've used this really since I started hiking, but not this one. This is the fifth one of that generation, and I had a contest last week, and there is a winner, but I'm not going to let Dave of Dave Collier's Camping choose the winner because the winner is him. Just in a fluke, I got some great suggestions on it. Really did. One guy, good friend of mine out in New Mexico, he suggested Francis, but since wandering monk Saint Francis, he was a wandering guy too, and so that would be a great name for my hat. And then another guy, actually Dale, Backyard with Dale, he suggested Boomerang, and I love Boomerang. I thought, man, that's it. Um, that's going to be it. But I'm sorry, Dale. Dave he beat you out because of what the story goes behind this. You guys ever watch Grizzly Adams? Grizzly Adams, great show back when I was a kid, and it dates both Dave and I. But Grizzly Adams, he had this old buddy that would hike with him, and his old buddy was Mountain Jack. And Mountain Jack had a mule, and he would name his mules because he kept losing them. And so his latest mule was Old Mule number 7. Well, Dave suggested my hat would be Old Hat number 5, and that's going to be its name. So I will put that in there, and I'm going to need help with the rest of my gear because I'm hoping maybe if I name it, then I won't lose it. So just to put it out there of what this week's contest is going to be. And again, you got to send me an email. You got to send me something on Facebook and Messenger somehow. Not a comment on this because I'm having a hard time. Maybe somebody can come back and tell me how do you find the comments after the show's over. But I will, if I could figure that out, then I'd go back and find the comments. But people make suggestions on the show, and I can't find your suggestion. I'm sorry. That's bad on me, but I'm just telling you. But this week, you might have seen my buddy. My buddy has a name, and I've talked about him in a couple of videos out there because he's come and hiked with me. He's, Old Crow hiking, as a crow flies hiking, he's got a couple of buddies. He's got Papa Smurf that hikes with him, and then he also has Backpacker Bob, and they're both jerks. And I think there's something about these hiking buddies because this guy's a jerk too. He doesn't do a whole lot of help around the camp, but he does have a name, and it's in my videos. So whoever can tell me what his name is, you're the winner. And so there you are. That's the contest. I've done it early. It's out of the way, so I won't forget it. And now I just want to come back and look at some comments and see if there's any questions in here. Yeah, it dates many of us. Tony said, all right. And then you've got, yep, Old Hat number 5. I love it. So you've got Tom with Following Walker's World. I'm not sure what Tom you guys are talking about. I know Beeka's asking a question. And then, yeah, congratulations, Dave. It's good. But Dale, yours was good. Boomerang, man. And so was Francis. And I had several. But those were the top 3. And then there we were. So there's that. You saw it looks like Ken from Be Still on the Trail is in here. Ken and I. Oh, Kevin, you're a monster, man. You're the winner. He already got it and put it out here. My little guy's name is Colin, and yep. So congratulations, Kevin. You're the winner. The contest is over. Ken, good to have you with me tonight. I am going to get Jason up here. Just before I do, I want to tell you about because you might have a trail that you're trying to figure out where it is, or you might have something that you're wanting to hike, or you may know a trail. You know, there's All Trails is a GPS app that you can put on your phone, and you can call up some of the lesser known trails, but still that they're blazed trails, and you can put it up there, and you can have it. But and then there's Far Out. It used to be Gut Hook, and it has the bigger trails, the Appalachian Trail, the PCT, the CDT. All those are on Gut Hook, or now all Far Out. I think it was somebody in the '60s. They came up and had a flashback and renamed Gut Hook to Far Out. But so, but what happens if you don't have either one of those? I found an answer. I'm going to throw it out here. Let me just share this. This is about a 3-minute video, so lean back and I will get your questions as
Y'all, Dan here.
watch it.
Thanks for joining me. I'm here in the studio because, well, for one thing, it's just sort of cool and nasty outside. And that's not the full reason, but that gives me a good excuse not to be out there in it. The real reason for being here in the studio is I'm going to share some things with you on some of the technical side of how I am planning to get out and hike the Cherokee Trail. It's a big difference when you have a road map or a GPS for a car, and you know point A to point B, and you know the roads that get there, or at least the GPS does if you're like me. I don't know that I really know it. I just depend on that device. It's saved me a lot of worries since it has been in. I used to drive with the old map and trying to see where I was going and drive and not kill myself or someone else at the same time. Now with the GPS, it's just great. So that's what I use. That's what I'm going to use on the hike as well, but you got to do it a little differently. Yeah, they're tools. They're tools like All Trails, and it used to be Gut Hook. Now it's called Far Out. These were programs, these were apps that you had on your phone, and you could plug in the trail, especially the popular trails, and it would show you where you were at, and it would give you the trail, and you could just follow it. So if you got lost, then you could get back again. I did that several times when I was hiking through the Smoky Mountains. I remember one time got up early in the morning. It was still dark. I got out to the trail. I'm hiking down the trail, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm coming up on a stream. And I crossed the stream, and the more I thought, I wasn't supposed to come to a stream today. I'd looked at the map. I knew that where I was supposed to go, and it wasn't a stream that early in the morning. Well, turned out I had turned right when I should have turned left. When I looked at the GPS, it showed me I was going the wrong direction. I'd already gone about 1.5 miles down, so I had to turn around, walk that 1.5 miles back, and then just keep on going north. So I wasted a lot of time. GPS works pretty good. But what happens when you don't have a trail? What happens when there is nothing in the GPS to give you a trail to hike? You have to make one. I'm going to show you how I did that. It may not be the way, but it was how I did it. So come along and join me as we put together and plot out where I will hike on this Cherokee Trail. Okay, there's going to be a few tools you're going to need. You're going to need a computer. You're going to need a smartphone that has the Maps GPS app in it. You're going to need a pencil and paper or pen and paper, and you're going to need some patience. You're also going to need to subscribe to the GaiaGPS.com. They have a free subscription, and then they have 2 paid versions. The free subscription gets you everything that you're going to need in order to plot out this route. The challenge is that if you're going to download it and use it offline, if you're going to use it, the GPS features of it, you will need a paid subscription. I'll share with you what I used.
Hey, Dan, I can't hear you.
Oh, thank you. I didn't want anybody to hear my breathing again, so I muted my mic. I don't know if you've heard the Gaia GPS app before, but I had not. I went through and what I did was I have a Garmin that I use, and I know that you can build a trail with Garmin as well. And I was trying to use that thing, and man, it was hard. It wasn't intuitive. If you make a mistake, you had to just delete it and start all over again. This thing, and if you've worked with grid coordinates, you know it's easy to make mistakes. You can transpose two numbers, or you can leave a number out, or you can do something. Even when I was building this Cherokee Trail map, somehow one of the waypoints plotted me someplace in China, and I had to delete that and bring it back and correct it. But it was easy to do. But yeah, Mike, he knows about Gaia. It's really a nifty app. I have really been pleased with it. I think I'll let you know more after I've used it and hiked up the trail. But um, let's see. Saturday, I was with a group up in Galva, Kansas, and Galva is the end of the trail before it intersects the Santa Fe Trail, and then it follows the Santa Fe Trail out. I think it's Fort Lorton. That may be wrong. It follows it out to Colorado, and then from that old frontier fort, it splits off again, and then it goes through Wyoming. And then the Cherokee Trail actually splits, and one side goes north and one side goes south. And so as I get out there, there will be more trail to try to discover. All right, but that's sort of the cool thing. And Jason, when I was out there, I met with all these property owners up there in that area, and they were all very interested in the trail because it goes through their property. And these people are amazing. You know, I said it in one of the videos, that they're more like stewards than they are property owners. They're very, they think that, and they look at this as almost sacred ground that this trail has been used. Hey, Mike, good to see you. And so then what they've done is they took and just so opened it up for me and said, yeah, you can walk through our property. So one old boy, he said, I need you to come and see my place before you leave today. And then I need to share some things with you. So, all right. So I went to his place. And when I got there, he's got a ranch, but he has exotic animals. And he had buffalo. And he said, when you get to that corner down there, you need to look up here and make sure the buffalo aren't in the field. He said, because if they see green grass, there is nothing I can do to hold them in. They are going to go through any fence that I've got, and they're going to go out there if they want to go out there. And so we started looking, and he's got one bull he said he's just a juvenile. He's only 4 years old. He weighs about 1,700 pounds. He said, but those buffalo, they can run 40 miles an hour for 35 miles.
Wow.
He said, a horse can't outrun a buffalo. And I said, well, you know, my wife always wondered, why did anybody think it was smart to get on a horse and ride out into a herd of buffalo that was 2,000 or 3,000 buffalo with a bow and arrow and start trying to shoot one of them things? and everybody laughed. But, you know, that's it. It's something else. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing totally stinking awesome. How you doing, Dan?
Oh, man. Yeah. Today is gorgeous here. It's 70 degrees. It's beautiful. And the rain comes in tonight and it drops down again. So yesterday was nasty. Today's beautiful. Tomorrow will be nasty again. It's Kansas. But
Today was the same way here. It was in the 70s, and I don't know if they were talking about for this week or next week, but they're talking about possible snow coming this way. And I'm like, really?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Let's see. It was March 2 years ago. Yeah, I think 2 years ago, I was in the Smoky Mountains in late March, and it snowed, and we had hail, and it was a nasty day. I just left from Clingman's Dome and went past uh, Newfound Gap, and then I was heading to Ice Water Shelter, which is properly named because it was cold, man. It was ice water. It was getting pelted with hail. It was a nasty day.
Nice.
Oh, well, let's see. Anybody have any questions out there? Suggestions? Man, as I go out here on this thing, please no smoke. Oh yeah, and Ken, he's going out on the New England Trail here soon, and then after that, he's going to come out here and hike with me. So
Awesome. So I got a quick question for you.
yes, sir.
And if this is something you covered, like in one of your video, get ready to come out or whatever, feel free just to be like, I'm not answering that right now, Jason.
Okay.
But while you've been working on this process here in the beginning stages, is there one piece of it that you have just found to be like your favorite part? Like you just really enjoy doing like a particular piece of all these things you're having to do to prepare for it?
That's a good question. Probably the most familiar part was doing the road reconnaissance, and I think when I did that, because I had several comments of this past week's video, and then part 2 of that will come out this Saturday when I finish the whole from one end to the other, driving point to point. And the reason I did that was the folks from the Cherokee Trail, Friends of the Cherokee Trail in Kansas, they gave me a Google Earth file where they had put pins in every point that they had surveyed and where they had placed trail signs for trail crossings or trail entrances into property. And they had about 28 points along this 142 miles that they gave me. But I wanted to verify every point and make sure I had the right coordinates. So I did the road reconnaissance, and I went from point to point, and then I would take my phone and take just the standard maps application that's on your phone, and I would put a pin in there, and then you scroll down to the bottom, and you can get the grid coordinates of where you're at.
That's cool.
So I did that. I did that for every place I went, and then I used this Gia GPS to connect the dots. But doing the road reconnaissance is probably the most familiar thing I've ever done, because when I was a young lieutenant in the Army, I used to get stuck with these crazy missions of leading a whole company of 100 and almost 200 soldiers out into the middle of nowhere. So before I ever got those guys behind me, I would do the reconnaissance for the whole trip. It was just me and my driver, and we would take off. Well, that was what I did. And I got my friend from Canada. He's on here. I'm gonna put his channel up next week because this guy has amazing videos. And
is that the CA Walks and Lyrics?
Yes. Okay. Yes. He has the most beautiful pictures there in Canada that he walks through, and it's just wonderful. But yeah, that's the most familiar I've done. I think the most fun I've had, and I'm working on a video right now about that, is meeting people. Something that I really, I didn't associate with hiking trails. Hiking trails I associate with getting out in the middle of the woods and you walk a path. But this trail in particular is really highlighting the fact that you wouldn't have trails without people. And both researching the people who established this trail in the first place and why they did it, and going down and talking to their heritage, people that these were their ancestors. There was a guy, his name was Danny, down in um, uh, Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and when Tahlequah is the Cherokee Nation capital, and their old Capitol building is meeting people is the greatest part of something like this, Tony. And
Agreed.
so Tahlequah was is the old Capitol building of the Cherokee Nation, and now it's a museum, and they have a new Capitol. But the guy that was in there, he and I started talking about what I was doing, and he got so excited about it. And then he starts telling me about all of the stories that were told to him growing up as a little boy. And then he started telling me how that they pass this down through the ages. The Cherokee Nation is over 450,000 people. It's the largest Native American tribe. And he said about 100,000 live in Oklahoma in the Cherokee Nation. And 350,000 live all around the world. They have ambassadors to other countries. It's amazing what they do and how they do their education. But they start with their children at 2 years old in school, 2, and they start to learn the Cherokee language. And all right, Ken, that'll be fine. We'll be here. God bless you, man. So yeah, and then from that to go up, and I got into southern Kansas where the trail comes across, and I'm out flying the drone to get some footage, of the trail. Because you can see the swells, and you can see, even from Google Earth, you can see the passage of the wagon train on this thing. It's amazing.
That's
Um,
cool.
and so I'm doing the drone, and this guy drives up to make sure that I'm okay. I mean, that's because people around here, it's not that they're checking on you, other than that they want to make sure you're safe. And I said, yeah. And he said, you got a drone out there? I said, yeah, let me bring it in. I'll show it to you. So I brought him in. The thing weighs a half a pound. It's just a little bitty thing, but it does amazing. And I let him fly it a little bit. They get a kick out of that. And so he said, well, you got to come to my place because my grandmother told me stories. And he starts telling me stories about buffalo wallows and wagon trails and old Indian trails that went through his property. And so I went, and it's in the right place. So I wasn't sure, but if this was Cherokee Trail or if something else, because I mean, this was Osage country out through here. So there's hunting trails everywhere, and it could be one of them. So I'm up there, and I sent his address to a guy that's actually in Butler County Historical Society. And he did the research for me, and he's connecting the dots. He said, yeah, that's got to be it. It's got to come right across his property. Cool. All right. And then, so Steve, he told me I could hike through his place, and he knew all of the landowners all the way up through to the little house on the prairie, which is about maybe 16 miles. And he said, I'll clear it so you can just hike straight through everybody's property.
That's cool.
So yeah. And then, to meet them, go up to this little town of Tyro, Kansas, and the people there, they said, what are you doing? They're curious. Tell them they just fall all over it. Got up last Saturday. I was invited to go to Galva, and went up there, and the people there came out to hear what I was doing. And then the Friends of the Cherokee Trail, they gave a presentation just about the trail itself, and the people loved it. But then they're all, yeah, come through. One old, every one of them said, just come up to the house if you're hungry. We get you food, you can have water, you can have anything you want. Just stop by and see us. Can we go walk with you? I said, sure. So, just how the people have embraced it. It's just amazing. So yeah, without people, there's no trail.
That is really awesome. Cherokee Trail magic already happened, and you've not even hit it yet.
Yeah, yeah. The 4th of April, Lord willing, that's when I plan to step out on the trail. The 4th of April. Now I will admit, I watch the weather this time of year. This is Kansas, so if there's a forecast of weather, um, I probably would try to work that in and not be out there. Uh, yeah, Mike, it's amazing how the locals are embracing this thing.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
but the I mean, this is tornado country. Any place now is tornado country, but this is really tornado country. You can see it coming, and so I'll be watching that.
That's fine. You can just turn it into the Cherokee Trail of Oz.
Well, that's if I can click my heels hard enough, maybe I could come back home. But yeah, and I'm afraid that I'd have to have old hat number 6 then because it would probably take the hat off my head.
Something like that might actually run you through like 6, 7, and 8 without even.
Well, it
You
would
have to move
certainly.
from like 5 to 9.
I know I'd probably be needing some new clothes. So yeah, I've seen them. I mean, we used to when I was stationed here as a young troop, and back in those days we were crazy, and we'd get the tornado warning. You know, there's a tornado watch. It's just backwards from what you think it would be. Tornado watch is not a big deal. Tornado warning, you got to get serious about it. And so we get the warning. We'd climb up on top of the barracks and watch for them. And when we'd see them, we'd just sit there and watch them, and they would come right over the top of us, and they'd always lift it up just before they hit the post. They get over the top of us, get to the other end of the post, sit down on the ground again, and take off. And so we always thought that was, we were invincible. Well, yeah, I guess it was about 5 years ago. One came and just took it out, took out a bunch of barracks, took out a bunch of facilities. I mean, just a lot of damage. And I'm thinking, man.
So that was kind of like y'all's version of the Hurricane Beach Party.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did some of those too. I was stationed down in southern Mississippi and did some of
I'm
those
not
too.
saying that I've ever done those before. Never.
No, I'm sure you have not. I'm sure you're much smarter than
I might be now.
that. Well, age has a way of doing that. It has a way of saying, you're really stupid. So, man. Yeah. But I am excited. It's probably going to take me I'm guessing about 14 days. It'll probably be 160 to 170 miles by the time I'm done,
Wow.
because the sections that I don't have, if I don't have permission, if I haven't met the property owner, I'm not going to walk on their property. Besides just being rude, I mean, you just don't do that. But the thing about Kansas is all of the county roads, it's a grid network, and it's 1 mile grids. So you don't get lost out here, and you just walk a mile and you go over a mile and you stay right there beside the trail, and you can stay on, the dirt roads of Kansas. It's road walking, which is some of the most boring stuff that you can do. But I can still be right beside the trail. I can still get a lot of video and photos of it, and still bring everyone along on the trail, even if I'm not on it, my feet on ground.
Awesome. So when you were saying that, this kind of thought came to me, and if you've said this previously, I apologize, but have you found is most of this on private land, or are there parts of this also on public land as well?
It's
So,
probably it's probably 90% on private land.
wow.
Probably 90% on private land, and yeah, um, that's why I've gotten permission to walk probably half of it on through property on the trail.
Now, has anyone said no yet?
Two farmers said no, uh, and the locals were. I mean, and that's fine. It's their property. Uh, and people would think I thought that I was going to get upset. I said, no, it's their property. I'm fine with that. If they don't want me on there, I don't want to be on there. but they they weren't well received in their community for saying no. I just put it that way. but and I told the others. I said, look, it's their property, and
So,
they're
and
right now they're in planting season.
yeah. And when you said, farmers, I was wondering if it was cutting like through their actual farm.
Yeah.
And, which, could be, I understand that. So my question for you is, are you literally routing it where when you get to the point, are you just having to walk out to like a street or something to bypass that part, or have you gotten
Yeah,
that far on mapping it
yeah. No,
out?
the county. Yeah, I've got it all mapped out now. The county roads will go right beside it. So I would never be more than a half a mile away from the trail.
Okay, that's not
Uh,
bad at all.
Yeah, it's just the county roads will skirt alongside of it, and I'll just have to sort of have a few dog legs as I skirt up alongside of it. And but yeah, yeah, Dave, it's still, I figure if it's 50% of landowners will say that I mean 50% of the trail says that I can walk across it. I'm real happy with that. Because I was sort of figuring I might get 15 miles on each end, and but and they're great folks. They took me out to their property, showed it to me, and said, we'll just leave the gate open for you. I said, don't do that. I can, all the gates. It's barbed wire fencing around their property, but the metal gates you can just climb over. And I said, if you don't mind me just climbing over your gate, I'll just do that. Well, if you don't mind doing that, I don't mind. And and I said, I will walk the hedgerows because every out here, if you've been out here, the wheat fields, they have hedgerows of trees on each side of them for windbreaks. Otherwise, you'd have wind erosion and it just blow everything away. So they put these tree lines up. I said, I'll walk the tree lines. And they said, no, no, no. Wheat's a hardy crop. Just walk across the field. Said, okay, I'll do that. And then one guy, he said, those that tree line over there. I said, yeah. He said, don't go on those tree line. Why not? It's nothing. You're not planting anything there. He said, no, but that's cat country. I said, cat country. He said, yeah. I said, bobcats aren't going to bother a person. They're just not. And he said, well, if these are bobcats, they've got really long tails and they are really big cats. I said, but there's no cougars in Kansas. He said, that's right. That's what the Fish and Game says. He said, if you get over there, you're going to see 15 of them. Oh, buddy. All right, great. He said, you ought to be packing something. I said, well, I'll think about that. I'll think about that. I never have done that before. Other than bear
Well,
spray. I'll carry bear spray.
well, I'm sure you saw and heard about my recent experience.
Yes.
Yeah, I will be self-defense, especially against creatures, is something that I am doing a lot of research into.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was scary. That was scary. I've never heard of coyote doing that way before.
And I've been out before and I've heard them many a times and they've
Oh
never
yeah.
bugged me. I've had large animals come through my sights before. I'm in the middle of the night, woke up at like 3 in the morning and there's something, rummaging around. And I'm just like, whatever. It's never bugged me. These were being aggressive. Like they were sitting there surrounding me. And I'm like, nope. It
Yeah.
was wild.
Yeah. That's just craziness. When I hiked last December, it was my last hike of the year because I did a hike every month. And I hiked a trail called the Prairie Spirit Trail. And it goes from Ottawa, Kansas to Iola, Kansas. It's about 54 miles of trail. And as I'm hiking down through there, I spent the night just off the trail, set up my little tent. I'm fine. And about, I don't know, 1 in the morning, coyotes were after it. You're hearing them just tearing it up. And so they woke me up. They were so loud, which is rare on the trail. And then I heard something running up the trail right beside the tent. and I looked out, and they had gotten quiet, and it was about 15 coyotes in the pack, ran right beside the tent, up the trail, get about 30 feet past the trail, and then they start going after it again. and and I never was concerned about it. People would say, "Man, are you out there?" I said, "Well, they're not going to bother you." And then you get yours, and I thought, buddy, I got to think about that too.
See, I never worried about it until this particular instance. It's like I wouldn't have cared if I would have seen a coyote. I would have been, I would have been aware. I would have kept an eye on it. But because of the way they act, and also because Rob from Ontario Camping Company, yes, talking about the Sasquatch cats.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I
I
love
saw
it.
that too. Hike camp put there, and I
Yeah,
laughed. But
yeah,
Rob from Ontario Camping Company, he had an issue as well. Where and now what the difference between me and him was, mine were right there at me, but I never saw them.
uh huh,
His literally were on top of him, and one charged him. The difference was he was out hunting, and he was actually on the ground at the time, but he had his crossbow. So he was able to get a shot off. It bounced off of it, but it made it scatter, and it turned out to be the alpha. So the rest of the pack ran away. He got really lucky
yeah,
because he was actually charging him. So ever since I heard his story, it was just last year when I heard the story, I started thinking to myself, I need to be a little bit more aware of coyotes because they're more desperate now. And
yeah,
then when I heard that, and they were literally like approaching me and surrounding me, and I
yeah.
was just like,
That's
nah.
that's
So
that's not.
and with where you're hiking, it sounds like there's going to be quite a bit. And I could be wrong on this, but it sounds like there's going to be people kind of close by most sections that you're going through, especially like in the cat country area. I'm assuming is still kind of close to people's houses and on their property, right? In some cases.
Closest relative, you know, uh, it would be within 2 miles.
Okay,
2 to 3
gotcha.
miles, 2 to 5 miles, I guess, out here, because this is open country out here. I love it. It's just great. The sky at night is just amazing. I'm hoping to get a lot of night shots and some astrophotography kind of stuff. I'm taking a bigger camera out with me. I'm taking the drone, so I'll get some so I can get over the trail and give folks a picture of the trail itself, where those spots that I can't get on it. If I can get on it, then I'll use. So I've gotten several different cameras now that I'm using for hiking. I try to do something every year to sort of improve either storytelling or the quality of video and audio. Um, so yeah, it's try to read Mike's here. One more into the parade, last good fight I'll ever know. He's out of control. Uh, Mike, you're gonna have to come down from that space station again. But yeah, it's it's open country out here. You know,
That's awesome.
bobcats and coyotes. No wolves. That's on up. See, and that's what I was always concerned with. Wolves are different. That's a different breed. Uh, and so we had wolves when I was the commander of Fort McCoy, Wisconsin. We had a huge my army installation there was 160,000 acres was the installation size. Great training area. But we had a pack of wolves on the property that lived in the impact area of the training site. Um, Crazy. But they would range when they would go out and range, they would go over to Minnesota. They would go up because every one of them had radio transponders on them. They'd go over to Minnesota. They would go up through Minnesota, through northern Wisconsin, over into Michigan, come down Michigan, and then come back home. To winter over there at Fort McCoy. So yeah, hey, Tango here, uh, great buddy, and he was one of the commanders on Fort McCoy with me, and great guy, uh, soldier, and he is an EOD guy. So that'll get your attention. And they were fun days. But yeah, I don't know if the wolves were deaf or not. I knew they had teeth. I had I'd sent out a letter to all the local farmers and told them that there were wolves that lived on Fort McCoy. And that if they had a carcass, if they had a calf or a cow that died, they needed to police it up because wolves will do what wolves do. And they're going to go and feed on that carcass. And a woman calls me and she is mad. And she said, "Your wolves chased my son to our house. And the wolf is sitting out in our front yard waiting for him to come out." And I said, "Well, ma'am, they're not my wolves. The Army does not own wolves. They don't belong to the Army. They're wild wolves. They just happen to live here. And did you get my letter? Or what were they doing?" She said, "Well, we had a calf die and they were out feeding on the calf. The pups were. And my son thought it would be fun to chase the pups off, but Mama was sitting in the wood line. And so Mama thought it would be fun to chase the son off. So here comes Mama. And the boy on his four-wheeler runs home, and the wolf is out in their front yard." I said, "That's got to be scary. I am so sorry." I said, "How old is your son?" I'm thinking, what, maybe 10, 12, 14? She said, "Well, he's 39. And I said, "Okay, ma'am, I'm not sorry anymore. That's just stupid." If he's that old, that's stupid. So tell him to go out there and pet that wolf. If he scratches her behind the ear, she'll probably like him. And
That's funny.
when I was in the Pentagon, I had a Navy commander. I was on the Joint Staff, and so I had my cubicle, and a Navy commander was right beside me, and he had his. And Eric, a great friend, and and that man was me. It might have been Mike. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you stupid. But Eric had a poster, and it's had John Wayne playing in Seabees, and he's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and his helmet on, and it's in the poster says, "Life is hard. It's harder if you're stupid." And I loved that poster. I wanted that poster. It was great.
Yeah, my dad was stationed in Alaska back in the 60s, and they had wolves that would actually raid their base.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because he was telling me, it was like we weren't allowed to use our military, issued weapons to fend them off. For whatever reason, I don't remember if he gave me a reason for it, but they weren't allowed to use them. Maybe it was ammunition, maybe, I don't know. So all the guys had wrote home to their wives and had their wives send them their rifles. They were all sitting there with their rifles trying to pick them off when they would come on base. But
Oh my goodness. I would.
they had a case where there was like an abandoned mess hall or something that these wolves would actually go out and seek shelter from on their base. Kind of, I think what you were mentioning is something similar, right? Where they were kind of hanging out on their base, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't have this. Not out in Alaska."
Yeah. No, that's
And
not
my
good.
dad's one of the idiots that would actually go like play with some of the wild animals. He showed me a picture. So 2 weeks ago on Tuesday, I went and hung out with him because I had kind of realized I wanted to get more info from his military service. So we sat around and talked, and he pulled pictures out. And he's got a picture where his buddies dared him, like, "You won't go mess with that bear." And he went up and actually fed the bear, and they would actually start playing with these like huge bears that came up.
No,
And the
that's
bears
great.
loved them because they were feeding the bears. So the bears became like their mascot pets. Like they had this one bear called Bruno. It was just like fat brown bear that would just wander on the base, and they would go feed it and play with Bruno.
Oh my goodness. No, I'm not going to have any part of that. But yeah, I think Mike's right. They probably didn't ever touch powdered eggs. Those nasty things.
Right.
Oh, nasty stuff. I think that's why I can't eat Mountain House scrambled eggs today. I just can't do it, man. Uh, I had no, I didn't get promoted to general. Well, I will say this: I was a colonel. My last tour in the Pentagon, I was a full colonel, and I came out on the BG list and for promotion, and I turned that down. So, but and that was really the start of this journey, because there I went to seminary, and it was a whole different story of life. So, yeah.
Awesome. Did you see that Beaka had actually asked a question a little bit further up?
No,
So
what she asking, Beacon?
She asked how you're planning on handling water while you're out
Oh, great question.
there.
There is there are a lot of creeks, a lot of streams, a lot of ponds. And that's sort of my priority. Is I would go to a creek first or a stream, and then if I got to, I'll get water out of a pond. But you filter it. I've got my filter. I don't know if you've ever watched Dixie when she did the CDT. She left out from Mexico, because from the CDT you start in Mexico and you end in Canada. And she left out from Mexico. She's in the desert, I think of New Mexico, and there was on then Gut Hook, now far out, there was water source identified. And when she got to the water source, it was a great big water trough for the cattle. And in that water trough was a dead possum. So she fishes the possum out and then gets her water and filters it, and away she goes. So you do what you got to do.
Man, I hope she had some noon tablets or something for that water.
She's great. I love to watch her stuff. But yep. Yeah, Bika saw it. Yeah, nasty. I couldn't do it, I don't think. But if I had to get water out of a pond, I'll do that. Actually, the trick to it, a lot of people will go deep into the water thinking you're getting fresher water. You're actually getting fresher water if you skim the top, because the ultraviolet lights from the sun, you can use that. But yeah, a good filter does work. Bika, I'm sorry. But yeah, well, I don't know if Senior Hiker would say that I've got a good filter. He is meticulous about getting the very best, and he's got a good one, and I haven't done what he had.
Which one does he have right now? Is it the?
I don't know, and he was on here. I don't know if he still is. If he can come up and say
I feel like he
what.
recently got the platypus. I can't
I
remember the
don't
name of
know. That might be what he's using.
the quick
You know,
draw. The quick draw.
yeah,
Platypus quick draw.
yeah.
Because
That may be.
I remember watching somewhat recently. I watched a video he was doing about how to like field test these things,
Yeah.
and he was doing the quick draw as one of them because my wife actually gave me that one for Christmas this year.
Oh, cool.
So I got this. So what do you use them for your filter when you go?
I've got a Sawyer squeeze. It's the filter I've used. When I first started, I had a Sawyer Mini. My brother talked me into getting a Sawyer Mini, and it was okay. But man, because you sort of use it like a straw, and you'd have to drink it, and my mouth would get hurting.
I
so
couldn't.
so I went to the Sawyer squeeze, and I got yeah. So Too Tall, he's gotten, yeah, the Mini does suck. I mean, you have to suck out of it, so it does. It's bad. But the squeeze is not. I like it. What I do is I get a Canuck, or some call it the Canuck, or the
Yeah,
bag, and I get my
I was going to
water.
ask if. Yeah, I was going to ask if you were using a Canuck bag. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the collar that I put on it, and then I always carry smart bottles. So I carry a 1 liter and a 700 milliliter smart bottle. I carry the 1 liter on my side, the 700 in my shoulder, and And so then I just take and screw that on the bottom of it and tie it to a tree. And as I'm doing work around camp, as I'm setting up for the night, it filters my water, and I can do two things at one time.
You see, that's the only thing I don't like about like the quick draw is it doesn't have the option, or at least that I've seen anybody's come out with yet. I think you could probably modify something, but the option to be able to use something like that collar, so you could do a gravity or just a
Yeah.
direct squeeze
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
And that's, like I said, I got it for Christmas. So far so good. I've only messed around with it some,
The very
but
best one is the one that works for you. That's the
right.
very best one. Max said that he heard that the squeeze it's clogged easily.
Yep.
Honestly, what I do is after every time I use it, I take and I blow out. So you sort of back blowing it. I blow out from both ends and I try to clear all the water and the debris out of it. I have never had it clog on me, and I've gotten some skanky water. When we were hiking Cumberland Island, there's some skanky water in Cumberland Island, and I, but I've never had it clog. But that's what I do. It may for some. I may just have a, you know what? It may be that it doesn't have any insides in it. I'm just drinking that old nasty water anyway. But I don't know.
I think the trick to, I mean, this is really just not water filters, just gear in general, is if you properly maintain and take care of your gear, it typically most gear works the way it's intended to.
It
You
does.
can't just come home and just leave everything in your bag and let it sit in the corner until you're ready to go out again. You need to maintain it.
Yeah.
So I think that's the trick right there too.
I see that Tony's never had his clog, and Mike's saying the same thing. As long as you maintain it, uh, yeah. I just I like it. I like it, and that's what I've used. Again, senior hiker laughs at me, and he gives me a hard time because I'm stubborn. Once I get my kit set, I don't. I just sort of follow along and don't do anything else.
And there you go.
New stuff comes out, and I'm still hiking with the old stuff. I changed hiking shoes this year, and I went from Ultras to New Balance. They New Balance started making a trail runner, and my grandson works at New Balance, and he kept after me, Grandpa, and I am so far I like these New Balance. The thing I like about them, they have a wide toe box. Um, they have two things. They have an extra piece of rubber by the big toe. It calls it the toe guard, so that because I'm forever hitting my toes on rocks and roots, so this protects it. And and then after that, um, it's got Vibram soles, and from the army days, all of my boots had Vibram soles on them, and those things, they're like glue on rock for one thing. They really grip and they last forever. So, Fila, trail runners. That's Tony's talking about something I have not heard of before. Got to write that down.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I wouldn't try anything else, but Ultras have been the first shoe that's not a croc that actually works with my feet.
Yeah.
I've always had, foot problems. We talked about this before, I believe.
Yep. Yep.
And so I love my ultras, and right now I'm going to keep with that. But I'm any shoe that will have my size and
Yeah.
fit my.
Yeah.
I'm willing to try it because not every company makes my size. I wear a 13 wide in the
Oh,
ultras,
buddy. Yeah. Yeah.
and in ultra they only have that size in one of their colors. They
Do
don't.
you canoe with those too? Do you take those off when you do a river crossing and just sort of paddle across the river?
Yeah, I kind of do the mermaid thing. I just kind of hop in the river and just flap my feet and.
Well, let me ask you this, because Tony just said that he gets a new set of shoes every year. How long do your ultras last for you?
So considering I just bought this is my first pair of Ultras still.
Okay.
I just bought them last year, and unfortunately, last year I didn't. I got to go on 2 trips, and that was it. Because so many things
Okay.
came up, so I didn't really get a chance to test it. And I was hoping to test it this year, and we'll see what kind of. I still plan on doing a lot of day hiking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But of course, my family is not happy about me doing solo backpacking, so that's kind of the
Yeah.
solo part put on the back burner. But I'm still going to try to get some miles in because what I'm doing now is trying to train to get myself to where I feel comfortable
Mhm.
enough to join someone like Mike, like MK. Because
Yep.
he said before, he's like, you can come with us, and I'm like, I would just feel bad going out there with you, Mike, because I know I'm going to hold you back.
Well, yeah, I wish there was a way I could go and hike with you. That'd be fine. We can do that. But yeah, I can understand your family. In fact, my wife, she's getting where she really doesn't like it if I go solo. And probably the Cherokee Trail will be one of the last solos that I do, because I have to really go. And yeah, I go slow too. I just don't. And then Max said he used military boots for years. Well, I used military boots for years too, but not because that was the boot of choice. as, as soon as I could get, I swore that I would never put on a backpack again. When I retired in 2007, I said I will never wear a backpack again. And it was about probably 3 years later, my brother called and said, "Hey, I'm going to do this section of the AT. Would you go with me?" No, I'm not going. And I'm not putting on a backpack. And he kept on teasing me because he was Marine, I'm Army. He was enlisted, I wasn't. So I understand. You soft shoes. So I had to go, and thought he was going to kill me. Yeah, I thought I was going to die going up some of those hills, and then I got home and I got the bug, and after that I said, I got to keep doing this. So I love
That's awesome. Yeah,
it.
Mike, I see you, Mike, saying, "Come on, we'll take it easy."
Yeah, I
It,
think you
it
ought to check him out
well,
on one.
oh, definitely, definitely. I do plan on getting up with them. Yeah, because I'm in that group as well. But I
Yeah,
do want to. I want to get myself right now. Let me get some more day hikes in. I've got some plans to do some more day hikes. So let me get to where I'm not going to feel quite as bad. Because right now, you're gonna be like, dude, really, you're already ready. You're already done. So let me get a little bit more endurance. And my pace might not really pick up yet, but let
yeah,
me get some more miles in, and I really want to get out there and hang out with you and go do some trails. And
good for you.
Tony, if I was closer, you know, brother, I would love to go out there and go camping with you at some point in time, and maybe at
Yeah,
some point in time in travels, I can make my way out more west, or if you're coming this way, any, I'll try to meet up with you somewhere in between because I'd love to go hang out with Tony. That would be
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. I would too. I would too. If you guys could meet in the middle, you could be right here.
There you go.
We could go over to Missouri and hike some Missouri trails or Arkansas trails, or the trails here. There's one that I want to do. It's called the Landon Trail. It's about 30 miles long, um, and it goes from Kansas City down to, I think it goes to Osawatomie. I think.
See, that's a 10-day hike for me, 3 miles a day, buddy.
Well, it's all right. We can do that.
I'm
It
kidding.
makes the night camps more fun. But
I
it's
pick all the time about, these people wanting to go for like the fastest known time. I'm like, I'm going for
no
the slowest known time, baby. I want to take my time and enjoy. I want to
SKT.
soak everything in. SKT, baby. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Mike just gave me my first trail name.
Well, yeah, I think it would be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to hike with Tony too, and I'd love to go out there. Utah is just, when I see Nicole and her videos from Nicole hikes a lot hiking in Utah, it's just It's like the
Great
rocks are,
videos.
man, like they're almost liquid, like they just poured off the side. It's beautiful.
It
So
really is. I saw those videos. It was gorgeous.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, I just would love to go out there and knock some of those out. But I do miss the Yawaris. I tell you, I miss the Yawaris a lot. Um, that was just good times for peace. Um, to get up in those hills and set up. You know, I did Burkhead Mountain so many times that I was cutting across. You know, not I wasn't just doing the big circle, the big loop. I was cutting across and doing all kinds of different stuff to see it and so yeah, just I bet they are nice right now. Everything, you know, every trail's nice right now, but yeah, I miss North Carolina, miss the Rories. Um, it's it's starting the itch is starting to get in again. And I told Connie, I said, you know, I'm starting to get this itch again on the AT, and I'm sort of right now thinking maybe in 2 years I might. That would probably be my last chance to do it again. Would be to get out in probably 2 years. So I'm not going to be a Nimblewheel nomad. I know that. You know, Nimblewheel. He was 83 when he did the AT the last time. Uh, Sonny is an amazing guy. I don't know where he's at right now. I know he's hiding out in the somewhere writing a book of poetry. He just is an amazing guy. Yeah, the water's back. Is that because you gotten rain or was it the drought get you guys last year? Jason,
I'm
did
trying
you
to
guys have
remember. I know we didn't have as much rain last year. We definitely had a lot of fire bans going on the past couple of years actually.
yeah, man. Well, you know, it is after 6 o'clock, brother. Um,
Right.
I need to
12 minutes
I need to
past. Or
I
7 minutes
need
past.
to yeah. So it was great to talk with you and great to have fun. Yeah, lots of rain out there. So I'm glad. Yeah, the drought. I talked about trying to do uh the trail in Arkansas. Oh shoot, I've gone brain dead. I can't remember it. I started out doing it and got 40 miles into it, and there was no water, no water. So I had to call and get pulled out of the trail. So I think there's some wisdom in deciding that we need to when we need to pop smoke and get out of a trail, we can. So good on you, Jason. Well, guys, we're going to end this. It was so good to have you on. Thanks for popping up here. I didn't have anybody scheduled, and it's when I do that, you guys are welcome. I'd love to have anyone come on, but for now, we're going to call this one in the books. So until next Monday for sure. And I think I got a special guest next Monday. I'm really looking forward to having him on here, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So until next Monday, but don't forget to watch my video this to Saturday either. Next Monday, stay safe, stay healthy, stay on the path. God bless you all.